Does Nikki like me?
Yeah. I'm your freaky Nikki.
There's a version of obsession that sounds like a joke. A guy works in a record store. He has a crush on his coworker. He buys her a novelty toy from an occult shop, something called a one-wish willow, and when she rejects him, he breaks it. He wishes for her to love him more than anyone in the world. She does. What Curry Barker understood, making this film for under $1 million in 20 days, is that the most unsettling horror isn't external. It's the moment you get exactly what you asked for and realize the thing you asked for was wrong. Not just wrong, monstrous. Nikki's love is real. It's total. That's the problem. She'll do anything for Bear. That word, anything, is doing the work of the entire film. Obsession arrived at TIFF in 2025, sold for $15 million, and made $334 million. It didn't break through because it was expensive or clever with its effects. It broke through because it understood something. That desire, stripped of consent, isn't romance. It's a curse. And curses don't care what you intended.
Bear, I love you so much. I don't think I could live without you.
Every great wish horror story has a mechanism at its center. A hand, a lamp, a monkey's paw, an object that translates human desire into consequence with no editorial judgment. It simply delivers what you asked for. Exactly that. The horror isn't the supernatural machinery, it's the request itself, held up to the light.
I want that third wish.
Your buddy from work gets chunked in the brain, and now he's threatening people you know.
It takes what you want, and it ruins it, just like it ruined you.
The monkey's paw is one of the oldest tricks in horror. W.W. Jacobs published his version in 1902, and it hasn't dated because the logic is airtight. The wish-granting force isn't malevolent, it's literal. It takes what you want and renders it without compassion or interpretation. And the gap between what you meant and what you get is where all the horror lives. Brett Simmons' 2013 adaptation relocates this to a blue-collar Louisiana workplace, a warehouse, a cramped family home, fluorescent light, and bad decisions. A man uses the paw to bring his son back from the dead. The son comes back. The film is interested in the same question obsession is. At what point does a person stop trying to undo the thing they've done? Bear holds on to Nikki for weeks, telling himself he can manage it, that it'll work out, that this version of love is close enough. The father in this film makes the same calculation. Both are wrong. What the 2013 Monkey's Paw does particularly well is the texture of regret in real time. The protagonist watching the consequences compound and choosing at each decision point the wrong door. The supernatural is a delivery mechanism. The horror is the wishing. But here's what separates obsession from most of its genre cousins. The person harmed by the wish isn't Bear. It's Nikki. She's the one who loses herself, who wakes up lucid in stolen moments and begs Bear to kill her before the other version takes over again. The wish hollows her out from the inside. And the horror of watching that happen is one the cinema has visited before, in a very different register and a very different decade.
Do it. Hold it. Hold it. Up. Your knee. Hold it.
Andrzej Żuławski made Possession in 1981, and nobody has quite agreed on what it means since. What's undeniable is what it shows. A woman, Anna, played by Isabelle Adjani, becoming something else, unraveling, splitting. Adjani's performance includes a scene in a Berlin subway corridor that is genuinely difficult to watch, not because of effects, but because of what she's doing with her body, her voice, her face. It looks like a person losing themselves in real time. Possession is about the dissolution of a marriage, theoretically. Actually, it's about what happens when love becomes a container too small for the thing inside it. Anna's transformation is violent and sexual and frightening, and like Nikki's, it's simultaneously an expression of something real and a destruction of the person who held that thing. Both films are interested in what gets left when love becomes total, when devotion exceeds the bounds of the self that was doing the loving. The film was shot in divided Berlin, and the wall is everywhere in it, as backdrop, as metaphor, as the literal structure of a world split in two. The geography matters. So does Ajani's face in that corridor. You don't forget either one. What Barker built, technically speaking, is a miracle of resource management. He shot center composed with extra headroom to make space feel wrong. He used a house in Burbank and a music store and not much else. He edited the film himself from his bedroom. And he'd done the same thing before, starting with YouTube shorts, then a micro-budget feature, then this. It's a specific filmmaking tradition. Make the constraint the aesthetic. Kyle Edward Ball made Skinamarink on $15,000, mostly in his parents' house as an experiment in YouTube-distributed analog horror. Then it got leaked online, went viral at 35mm screenings, and was picked up for theatrical. Like Obsession, it traveled the YouTube to festival to distribution pipeline in a way that felt like it rewrote the rules. Skinamarink is almost the formal opposite of Obsession. Elliptical, nearly plotless, more texture than narrative. Two children wake up to find their father gone, and the doors and windows of their house have vanished. The film shoots the floors and ceilings and corners of domestic space as if those surfaces are the subject. It's a horror film made from the fear of being trapped somewhere familiar that has become wrong. That wrongness is the connection. Both Barker and Ball understood that the house, the home, is already a loaded space in horror. You don't need a monster. You need the right camera position and a good reason to never let the characters leave. Where Obsession uses that logic to cage bear, Skinamarink uses it to dissolve the very idea of exit. Different tools, same understanding that the domestic interior, filmed correctly, is the most frightening place on Earth. There's a scene near the end of Obsession where Nikki is lucid. She knows what's happening to her. She begs Bear to end it, and then the wish kicks back in and she's gone again, replaced by the version of her that exists only to love him. That image, a person consciously present inside a body that is no longer acting on their own behalf, is one of the most disturbing images the film offers. It is also an image that Jordan Peele built an entire film around 8 years earlier. Get Out is a film about a man who smiles at you while someone else is driving. The sunken place, the image of Chris falling backwards into a dark void while his body stands in the room and does what it's told, is one of the great horror images of the 21st century. It's terrifying not because of what's happening to Chris's body, but because Chris is watching it happen. Fully conscious, unable to intervene. Nikki's lucid moments in Obsession are structurally identical to this. She surfaces, names the horror, asks for help, and then gets pulled back under. The wish is the sunken place. Bear, who installed it, is the Armitage family. He didn't mean any harm. That's not an exculpatory fact. That's the point. What Peele understood in 2017 and what Barker understands now is that the horror of dispossession isn't best served by the body going limp. It's served by the body continuing, moving, speaking, smiling, while the person inside watches from somewhere they can't get back from. Both films are tragedies dressed as thrillers, and in both, the real monster is framed as the protagonist. Obsession barely leaves the house. Bear's bedroom, his bathroom, his kitchen. The geography contracts around him as the film progresses, until it's less a physical space than a psychological one. The production couldn't reshoot the party scene after the location burned down in the 2025 LA fires, and the resulting film is perhaps accidentally more claustrophobic for it. Sometimes constraint makes the work, and sometimes the most suffocating space isn't one you can see at all.
The perfect thing for our first meeting, my way of saying thank you for coming.
Oh, fuck, that looks amazing. We're in a church.
Soft and Quiet unfolds in a single continuous take across one afternoon. A kindergarten teacher organizes the first meeting of a white supremacist women's group. The afternoon escalates until it becomes something irreversible. The film doesn't cut away. It can't. That's the point. Beth D'Ara-Ujo shot the film over 4 separate days, but constructed it to look like one unbroken movement through real time, a decision that turns the audience into a passenger with no exit. Like Obsession, there are no cutaways to the world outside, no relief, no reminder that anything exists beyond what's happening in these rooms. The domestic interior, a church meeting room, a kitchen, a bathroom, becomes the entire world of the film. Once it starts moving, the only destination is the end. The connection to Obsession is structural as much as tonal. Both films trap you with characters making choices that compound each other, in spaces that get smaller as the choices get worse. Bear's house doesn't let him leave either. The lock isn't on the door, it's in him. Soft and Quiet understands this mechanic exactly, that the most efficient container for horror isn't a monster or a maze. It's a room full of ordinary people in the late afternoon, and a camera that refuses to look away. Obsession is a wish horror film for the era that produced it. Micro-budget, word of mouth, built on a simple idea and a willingness to follow that idea wherever it goes. Barker asked one question: what if you got what you wanted? What follows is one of the most uncomfortable answers the genre has offered in years.